Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in for a very important update. As you all know, last week, the member nations of the WHO have assembled in Geneva, Switzerland to talk about the amendments to the international health regulations, talk about the pandemic treaty. There was a lot of back and forth, and we're welcoming back to the show our friend and the world's most premier researcher on this subject, Mr. James Roguski. Thank you so much for joining us again today.
Well, thanks for having me. I think our goal today is to make this as short and as sweet as possible. So let me just dive right in.
Stage
Um,
is yours.
if you've ever watched a football player running for a touchdown and get all excited on the 10-yard line, thinking he's got a clear path to victory, and then he fumbles or he gets tackled and he's all embarrassed, or road race or an automobile race or a motorcycle race where before they cross the finish line, they celebrate and boom, somebody comes running past them. Well, that's what happened in Geneva. While a lot of people starting a month and a half ago started celebrating, oh, we defeated the WHO. No such thing. The WHO kicked our butt, and they got everything they wanted. All of the nations around the world crafted. I hate to have to say this, but I got to give credit where credit is due. The document that was adopted in the not quite the dead of the night, but very little bit before the witching hour of midnight when everybody was going to turn into a pumpkin, they adopted amendments to the international health regulations. Now, the game in terms of the pandemic treaty has gone into overtime. They extended the negotiations. It was not defeated. It's just going into overtime. They're going to have their next set of negotiations for the treaty starting in July, and they're shooting to settle that by the end of the year. Um, this is astonishing. And the media's response to what happened and their misrepresentation of what happened has been amazing. In summary, okay, very briefly, Big Pharma won an enormous battle. Pharmakia, the deception, the use of poison to treat disease, just got wide open funding through the WHO. What's in this document, I've been saying for months, when people read the final version, they're going to go, well, that's not what I thought it was. That's because you've been deceived. What is in this document, if you look at Article 13 and Article 44 and 44 BIS, is a funding mechanism to build out the disastrous thing known as the Pharmaceutical Hospital Emergency Industrial Complex. They're not coming for you or your healthcare or your national sovereignty. They're coming for your money to funnel it through the WHO to build out their evil business empire around the world so they can make more fake diagnostic tests, more drugs, more jabs all around the world. So oligarchs in poor nations can profit when they manufacture these evil products, and local officials coerce people who they missed the first time around to line up for jabs and drugs and tests and so forth. Read the darn document as if it was a contract, and you're looking for how is it that the money is going to flow into the direction of the oligarchs who want to harm other people while claiming that their products are going to be helpful to stop the next pandemic. Wake
James,
up.
sorry to interrupt, but forgive me if I try to summarize this. Is it the case they looked at what happened during 2020, 21, 22? They looked at how it unfolded, and they are now saying, here we have the optimized version, so we make sure none of the delays, none of the troubles that we had are ever going to happen again. And so we're putting in stage this perfect system, a 360 system that's going to ensure that everybody gets what we need them to get immediately as fast as possible. Is that a
Exactly.
fair summation?
Absolutely. And so if you've been deceived into thinking it was going to be this or it was going to be that or it was going to be something else, or if you've been deceived that, oh, this is no big deal, this is a victory, look at the news of the WHO claiming victory. Ask yourself, how does your opponent get everything they wanted? And this is a victory for us. This is a stunning defeat, but there's a silver lining because I'm an optimist. Okay. They laid their cards on the table. If you read the document, you can now see the blueprint of the game. Maybe it was confusing. Oh, maybe it was going to be this, maybe it was going to be that. Look over here, look over there, look over someplace else. Read the document, and you will see in Articles 13, 44, and 44 BIS, this is a money game. Fundamental rule: follow the money. And they've made it in such a skillful way that it's limitless. And the little tiny nuances in the language, you know, part of the problem is we're dealing with a lot of good people that are listening to us right now. And when you read the language, if you have a good heart, you go, oh, we're just going to help people. It's lovely and wonderful. But if you look at it from the people who wrote it and you go, how could they twist this language and use it to fund the build out of what they call relevant health products, diagnostic, drugs, jabs, and they added at the last minute cell and gene therapies and other, high tech medical treatments,
which
think
is now
CRISPR.
which is now everything that we know is or we think we know is harmful to people. I'm sorry to say it this way.
One of the other benefits that has come from this is people such as yourself. I want to pay you a compliment. You're clear eyed, you can see what's going on, and you speak out about it in a very clear and powerful way. I encourage everyone to look at what is being said in the media by people who are showing a different face. They're looking at this in a different way. They're claiming victory. They're saying that the treaty has been defeated. They're saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. This is no problem." A lot of people have just exposed themselves. The WHO has put the cards on the table. This is the blueprint of the game going forward. If you want to push back against this, give me a phone call: 310-619-3055. The pinned article on my Substack is going to be the place to be. It's going to be pinned there for the longest time. I don't normally do that, but they adopted these amendments in not quite the dead of night, but pretty darn close. Very similar to the Federal Reserve Act in 1913 and the Nancy Pelosi saying, oh, vote on Obamacare. You can read it later. All right, well, now is later. Read the darn document as if it's a contract, follow the money, and it's headed right straight to big pharma.
They always do it through boring bureaucracy and the language because they have the time and the resources to bury you in thousands of pages. James Roguski, we discussed over the last years two fundamental goals in this: educate the people
Mhm.
in order so they can make the proper calls and tell their representatives to step away from this. The second goal was always to fully step away from it, detach from organizations as the WHO, and walk away completely. In your priority list, last question: should we flip those priorities now, and should the number one priority be walk away?
Well, I always take the third answer, so I'll create my
There you
own
go.
answer.
Even better.
It's the Kobayashi Maru syndrome, if you know what that is. Um, the the starting point is go inside, get in touch with your spirit, your creator, your inspiration. um, don't listen to a word I say. Don't listen to hearsay unless what you're listening to and what you hear is that voice within that guides you on your unique path. If you follow that and you do it with love in your heart, you'll end up, on the right in the right direction. And we all have a winding road that takes us to, hopefully the same goal, but in a very different and unique way. Listen to what your heart tells you, but beware. There's a demon on this side and there's an angel on this side. You got to be careful and make sure that the voice that you hear inside is filled with love and goodness for all. The minute you start seeing evil and fear and anger and vengeance and all that sort of stuff, you're probably listening to the wrong voice. Okay. So my answer is, look in the mirror and get in touch with, what is right for you, and do it with all of your might and energy and passion. Um, and trust that you're the one who makes the decisions for your life based on guidance from a force that's greater than you.
Mr. Roguski, excellent answer. Excellent answer. Thank you so much for this update. Thank you for all the work you do, sir. And Inspire Tribe, let's get to work. Hop over to James Roguski's Substack. That's where all the information is, and it is really a big body. Links in the description. Become aware, share, talk about it, and like James said, and like we always say, go within, find the answer there. Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Inspire Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. You know we love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon.